Hey guys, it's your girl Najwa. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. So let's talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, the latest episode. So I have to just say, like Atlanta, I have a sweet spot in my heart for it because y'all know I grew up in Atlanta. But at the same time, the Atlanta franchise, by the way, the intro is so ratchet. I just realized now. Like the intro music, it just seems like Atlanta has to be the ghetto one. But whatever. It's the reason why it's got the most views is because, Atlanta is a hidden gem. But the thing is like, having had grown up in Atlanta, everything, every person, every culture, every civilization, every people, every group of people has stereotypes, right? And certain extents of stereotypes are true, but obviously a certain part of stereotypes are obviously exaggerated. The thing that really always annoys me about Atlanta, and I guess you could say this of all the franchises, I guess even OC, New Jersey, I guess it's like the caricaturized version of the representation of those cities. But Atlanta in particular, as I've said many times before, I don't like the fact that they don't show enough diversity. It's like they try to show diversity within the franchises by plopping all the black people into one franchise, which is Atlanta or how do you say it? Potomac. And it's like, dude, or Lagos, whatever. It's like, dude, there are black people in every city, and there are white people in every city, and there are Asian people in every city, and there are Hispanic people, and Native American people, and Middle Eastern people. It's like Atlanta. As someone who grew up in Atlanta, there's so much more diversity than what they show on the show. Okay, that's the first little bone I have to pick that just is like overarching all the time when I watch it. That's the only thing that bugs me. Second thing, like there is this hater, as we've discussed on here, this haterade culture that goes on in Atlanta. Really weird. Especially, I hate seeing it between women. Women are supposed to be there for one another, to lift one another up. Often with Atlanta, it's like, no, I gotta drag you down to pump myself up. Now, let's go ahead and get this out of the way first, because you guys know how I feel about Kenya. Okay, she reminds me of someone who I really don't like, who I really think is like not a good human being. But it's because they got like crazy, crappy stuff that went on in their childhood, and it just made them into someone who just is not necessarily someone. Okay, here's the thing with Kenya. That thing that Courtney said, about karma being real, I 100% agree with that, because Kenya laughs at other people's expenses. At other people's expense. She quite literally is always butting into people's marriage as seemingly out of concern, and before you know it, those people are having marital issues. Look at Drew and Ralph. I mean, I'm not saying that Ralph was perfect, because obviously I think there was infidelity going on there, so that's, But, look at Apollo and Phaedra, for example. She pretty much has a reputation for kind of butting up into people's nutty butter. I don't think it's purely out of concern. I think that she has some deep insecurities that manifest themselves as, okay, I'm a mean girl, and she just nitpicks at people. She quite literally laughs when people are suffering at times. Like, quite literally. Like, often I'm seeing it where she's literally laughing while people are suffering. It's very sadistic. And, where she started crying at the sound bath thing, her and Brooklyn and wanting Brooklyn to have a sibling and all this stuff. Okay, I'm with that, but I'm also getting vibes of where, should she really be having kids, from the sperm that she shares with a guy who treated her terribly, I don't know that she has a huge amount of self-worth. I think that she is someone who on the outside of it, she looks like she does. But I think on the inside of it, we just have that same scared little girl. That same scared little girl who's worried that mom's never going to come back home. And I really, really hope I really hope, and I don't want anybody creeping up into my little channel getting after me. But if that's what you need to do, okay. But I really hope that one day, just looking at the way she burst out in tears at that sound bath, that's something that very often happens with Eastern healing, Eastern medicine, any kind of like sort of spiritual or tribal type healing things like Reiki or acupuncture or pressure points, when you actually have a body healer who will press on certain pressure points in your body, the tears just come flowing out. And I think that happens a lot when people have stuff repressed up in them. And so I really hope that, I know every episode is like a PSA for me with Kenya, like why would she ever be watching my channel, but I just hope one day she really can resolve the issues with her mother, because I think that's where a lot of her issues come from. And where Courtney said that, where Kenya is like, I don't think it's right for you to be sitting here laughing, about karma when I slipped and fell and could have broke something or whatever that was. And, like, did Courtney laugh when she said that? I don't remember Courtney laughing. Courtney was dead serious, because like the same way that I am serious, karma is like that. You put out nasty, judgmental, mean, vindictive, sadistic stuff out into the world, and it comes back to you. Drew, I figured out what's up with Drew. I figured it out. Okay, so I've worked in the corporate world for 10 years. Well, since 2017, I've been freelancing because I realized that the politics, the sharky politics of the corporate world was just not for me. And as a freelancer, I don't really have to worry about that. Drew is an actress. And we all know that, where institutional oppression is real. So any institution that you were really involved in, especially in things like the corporate world and management, executive leadership, and being a public figure, it comes with a lot of delegation and diplomacy and relegation and is that even a word? Relegate, to relegate. That's a word. Relegation and sort of public speech and rhetoric. And sometimes, with that comes not appearing to be too controversial. Sometimes you need to be Sweden. Sometimes you need to be neutral in order to protect your reputation, to protect your career, to protect your projects, whatever it might be. Sometimes you need to choose your words very carefully in those types of environments. And I figured out about 6 years ago, like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not filtering myself just to, appeal to some politics. I think that Drew, since she is a working actress, that's what's up. People call her a liar. I don't think she's a liar. I think she is just someone who is that young person who hasn't realized that there is a way for you to maintain sort of your poker face while also speaking real, speaking what it is. I feel like Shereé, that she's the perfect example of that, like keeping it real, but sometimes you got to keep your words limited, and so I feel like where everybody's been calling Drew a liar, ganging up on her, and I've been just trying to like figure out what it was, because I like Drew, and figuring out why they're not coming to her defense. That's what it is. She hasn't figured out that poker face thing yet. And so I think that makes her very susceptible to trying to play Sweden, and it gets her into trouble. That's why you really, guys, I mean, you got to be as authentic as you can be, because honestly, when you're anything else, nothing but bad comes of it. But that's why people are calling her a liar and stuff like that. It's because to them, she's not coming across as authentic. To her, she thinks that she is being, I don't know, diplomatic and professional and appearing to be compassionate. But it's actually just coming off as really disingenuous. I I think that Kandi and this whole I saw you kiss a girl, and then Monyetta crawling onto that, and then Marlo crawling onto that. There's different motivations here. So let me unpack this a little bit. So first of all, I think that Kandi, I agree with what Drew said about since she's in her project, she's in her film or whatever, she probably wants her to play a role where she kisses a girl or something like that. And I think that's what she said. I think that at some point Kandi said Drew was going to play some naive bimbo who gets turned out or something like that. That's a narrative that Kandi seems to really, really like. And I mean, talking about her friends, I don't know. But I just think that I've said before, Kandi, she seems to have this dual personality. On one end, she's like a very chaste woman, a pillar of the community, and like, you know, sometimes erring on the edge of judgmental and, you know, mothering and nurturing. But then on this other side, she's all into sex and, you know, bolo and BDSM parties and stuff. And so I just feel like she's constantly at battle with herself. I'm not really sure, but I feel like she's projecting onto Drew a little bit. I feel like she is the freaky one of the group, right? She's the freaky one of the group. So I feel like she just needed to pull someone into that with her. So she wasn't alone in that camp. And Drew is the obvious choice. Monyetta, sometimes I'm just like, Monyetta girl. Like, Monyetta is like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. Like, I've had friends like Monyetta. And I guess the best way to describe her is just I don't know. She's a good ride or die. I can tell that. Because, you know, she's down. Like, it's like she's down for whatever. But I also think that she has a problem with, like, doing things at the right time or saying things at the right. She seems a little impulsive, I guess. And the whole filming Drew kissing and stuff. And then Marlo is real, but Marlo is crazy, you know? It's like Shereé is real, but Shereé is a little bit more conservative than Marlo. Nene, I mean, even though she's not on here, but I gotta evoke her name because this show wouldn't be anything without her. Nene is real, but Nene is cray-cray. But she is another cray-cray than Marlo. You know, it's like they're two different shades of Atlanta cray-cray. Yeah. Drew needs to take a few notes on that, you know, on being authentic, but at the same time, you know, sort of knowing when to speak up, knowing when not to. And Courtney, I love Courtney. She just kind of seems like she's got the unhinged uterus vibes going on. I don't know. It might just be me. But yeah, I feel like that was pretty much all I had to say about the episode. Like, I love how Shereé is talking about, we just had a sound bath. I can't believe we just had that relaxing moment. And I can't take you guys anywhere. I'm so upset. I'm like, girl, you really brought this group of women and you thought that they weren't going to get crazy. Come on, let's get real now. But at the same time, I feel her on that because as someone who suffers from fibroids, she probably truly did take that trip to just try to heal herself. So she was looking for some rejuvenation and, you know, calm and peace. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. I feel like that's pretty much it, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Hit that bell. That way you know whenever I post video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!